The 25th of August, 2017. The Texas coast. Winds of 130 miles per hour. The storm made landfall with absolute fury, tearing apart buildings and knocking out power for hundreds of thousands.
Continues to rise. This as Tropical Storm Harvey makes its looping turn.
A central pressure of 938 millibars, tied for one of the most powerful storms to ever hit the state. 300,000 homes flooded. 40,000 people left with nowhere to go, trapped by rising waters. $125 billion in damage. The costliest natural disaster in modern American history, alongside Katrina. For days, meteorologists had been watching a disorganized cluster of clouds in the Gulf. At first, it looked like a standard late summer disturbance. But as the system moved over the open water, it encountered an anomaly. The Gulf of Mexico was record-breakingly warm. This wasn't just water, it was high-octane fuel. In less than 48 hours, the storm underwent a process known as rapid intensification. It transformed from a weak tropical depression into a massive, organized, Category 4 monster. The models were clear. Impact was now inevitable. And as the residents of the Texas coast boarded up their homes, they knew they weren't just facing a storm. They were facing a direct hit from a force of nature they weren't prepared for. By 10 p.m., the eyewall struck. Harvey made landfall as a powerful Category 4 hurricane near Rockport. The wind was catastrophic, tearing roofs from buildings and turning debris into deadly missiles. But then, the disaster took a strange and terrifying turn. Usually, a hurricane hits the coast and moves inland to die. Harvey didn't. High in the atmosphere, the steering currents completely collapsed. The storm just stopped. It was trapped between two high-pressure systems, parked directly over the fourth largest city in America. This created what meteorologists call the training effect. Like railroad cars on a track, one massive rain band after another dumped trillions of gallons of water over the exact same spot. For Houston, the nightmare was only just beginning. The rain simply wouldn't stop. Trillions of gallons of water poured into the Houston metro area, turning massive interstate highways into dark, churning lakes. The emergency response systems were instantly overwhelmed. In Port Arthur,
nursing home in Port Arthur among the facilities being evacuated quickly.
Some of the nurses have said that the patients were in the water for up to 24 hours. Tensions were at a very high level when I came into this facility from the relatives and even from some of the
nursing homes began to flood, forcing rescuers to evacuate the elderly through waist-deep water.
Family members are posting on social media photos with pleas for help, seeking any information on missing or isolated relatives and friends.
The 911 system completely collapsed under the weight of 55,000 simultaneous calls. People were told, if the water reaches your attic, take an axe and chop your way through to the roof. Do not get trapped inside. Desperate families turned to social media, posting photos of their missing loved ones, begging anyone with a boat to come to their rescue. Even the official shelters were no longer safe, as the water began to claim the very buildings meant for protection. With local emergency services pushed past their absolute limits, the official infrastructure simply could not save everyone. So, the people of Texas took matters into their own hands. An armada of civilian volunteers, widely known as the Cajun Navy, deployed from Louisiana and across the state. Armed with fishing boats, kayaks, and jet skis, ordinary citizens navigated the submerged streets. Human chains were formed in raging floodwaters to pull strangers from sinking cars. They rescued the elderly, terrified pets, and trapped families who had no other hope. By the end of the storm, civilian and military crews had rescued tens of thousands of people from the water. But as the rain finally stopped, and the clouds began to clear, the receding water revealed a devastating reality. When the skies finally cleared, the true scale of the catastrophe was almost incomprehensible. Over 300,000 structures were flooded. The storm claimed the lives of 68 people directly, leaving scars that would take generations to heal. With a total damage estimate of $125 billion, Harvey tied with Katrina as the costliest natural disaster in the history of the United States. It was a storm that tested the absolute limits of human endurance. It broke levees, destroyed infrastructure, and brought the fourth largest city in America to its knees. But it could not break the spirit of the people who held the line when the water kept rising.
All day long, these volunteers have been pulling people out of subdivisions to my left, to my right, men, women. I saw one toddler little girl with a knapsack on her back, all prepared for a destination to who knows where. Brett?
At local shelters.
Now everybody is starting to panic, and it's not fun anymore. This is beginning to be a traumatic experience.
But escaping the floodwaters was only the first step of the nightmare. More than 32,000 people were crammed into temporary shelters. Conditions deteriorated rapidly. In Port Arthur, the water rose so high it breached the shelters themselves, leaving evacuees sleeping in toxic, unsanitary water.
I think it's a combination of desperation, people needing things, don't have cash, just a lot of people just taking advantage of the opportunity. I don't typically ride with my pistol, but I have it right now.
As night fell, a new terror emerged. Millions were left without power. The streets were pitch black and virtually unpoliceable. Desperation began to set in. Reports of armed robberies, theft, and looting forced the city of Houston to enact a strict overnight curfew. Families who had lost everything now had to guard whatever they had left in the absolute dark. By August 29th, the people of Houston thought the worst was finally over. But Harvey wasn't done. The system drifted back out over the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. It absorbed a massive amount of new moisture.
Harvey is making landfall again for the third time. The tropical storm hitting Louisiana this morning and battering parts of eastern Texas.
Recharged its energy and turned back towards the coast. On August 30th, Harvey made a second devastating landfall, this time unleashing its fury on the Golden Triangle region of East Texas.
Nurses have said that the patients were in the water for up to 24 hours. Tensions were at a very high level when I came into this facility from the relatives and even from some of the volunteers who had come to try to take these people out.
Directly hitting cities like Beaumont and Port Arthur, towns that were supposed to be safe havens for evacuees were suddenly swallowed by the storm. In Port Arthur, the water rose so fast it blew through the sealed doors of civic centers and hospitals. People who had just escaped the floods in Houston found themselves trapped all over again. There was simply no dry land left. Hurricane Harvey didn't just break meteorological records. It broke families. It claimed 68 lives and caused $125 billion in damage, tying it with Katrina as the costliest natural disaster in American history. We build our cities of concrete and steel, convinced that we have tamed the world around us. But storms like Harvey are a brutal reminder of how fragile our empires truly are. When nature decides to take the land back, there is nothing we can do but hold on to each other and wait for the water to fall.